Sherry Pie Child because she back in the news. Unfortunately, she trying to have this career comeback, but at this point, I just feel like ain't nobody checking for Sherry. Like, Sherry, girl, your career is done, but you get an A for effort. So anyway, I just want to put a picture up there for, just something to look at while we talk about this. So, disqualified RuPaul's Drag Race Season 12 contestant Sherry Pie has been trying to stage a comeback for several years, following a very public fall from grace after reports surfaced, excuse me, in 2020 that she engaged in sexual misconduct that involved catfishing several up-and-coming actors and asking them for photos and videos, sometimes sexual in nature, for fake castings. Now things seem to have escalated recently with a new statement from Pi, where she draws a direct line between their mental health diagnosis and the mistakes they made in the past. As previously reported by Out, other news outlets, and RuPaul's Drag Race fans on social media, these attempts have included rumored secret in drag appearances, several IG posts and stories, various photo shoots, an active cameo profile charging $40 for personalized videos, and even shady clapbacks towards the Drag Race series and its former contestants. Well, look, if George Santos trash ass could be out here charging cameos for doing drag, then I guess she can too, right? Now, recent activity from the disqualified Drag Race contestant included liking a comment claiming that the series had turned into woke BS and answering a follower via Instagram stories who asked in Portuguese if they'd ever returned to the show. Well, first of all, if you was out here calling Drag Race woke BS, which I don't think it is, and throwing shade at the thing for a little bit, for some money, for some scraps, then why would they invite her back? Like, first of all, one ain't that damn stupid to be doing that. So they said that she responded with a lip sync to a quote, "Get out of here. Can't you see I don't want you no more?" The quote, however, didn't seem to be directed at the fan who asked the question, but rather it came off as an intense reaction to the idea of returning to Drag Race. Now, on Wednesday, May 1st, Sherry Pie shared a lengthy statement in her IG story about being diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and what they've been doing to care for their mental health. The disgraced Drag Race queen wrote the following, saying, let me go down to it. Um, it's a long ass thing too. So it says, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Hopefully, we try to be aware of our mental health all year, but let's bring a focus on something that affects us all by talking about it on a personal level. Isn't May also, Masturbation Awareness Month? Maybe she need to do that to unleash some of them endorphins. But anyway, it says, my journey began about 5 years ago when I received my diagnosis. I'm a queer person with BPD, borderline personality disorder. My diagnosis changed my life and in many ways saved me. It provided some explanation for destructive behaviors that hurt others and myself. I was no stranger to self-harm. My self-worth was nowhere to be found. On the outside, I did everything I could to keep myself appearing stable and put together. When all the pain I had caused came to light in the public eye, of course I was met with outrage and disgust. I understand the response, but I won't ever be able to go back in time to fix and mend things, but I can and have owed my mistakes while learning and growing at the same time. I'm lucky to have an amazing therapist and psychiatrist. So, through the use of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, I've developed the tools I need to help manage my BPT in useful and constructive ways. BPD, like most mental illnesses, is often horribly stigmatized by media outlets in our country, making our own responses to mental health emergencies somewhat less than supportive and understanding. More often than not, people are ostracized and then left to pick up the pieces alone. We must do better. We can do better. Sometimes life is messy and nasty, but that's life. If we are truly going to make strides as a society with mental health, then first we've got to understand how complex we all are and try as hard as we can to have empathy for other humans no matter what. Broken crayons still color. Through therapy, I have finally found my true self. Of course, I will have moments when my BPD will rear its head, which is probably when she, during those segments that we talked about before, with would you ever go back to Drag Race or calling them woke, whatever she said about that, using the woke term. Maybe that was an episode. She said, but now I have some coping tools to deal with this situation and the ability to recognize when I am not okay. BPD is not who I am. I'm more than my mental illness. I am more than my mistakes. I am more than my trauma. I'm complex just like all other humans, just like you. Well, sis, I'm glad that you have come to terms with um with what you're dealing with, and the fact that you went on the Tamron Hall show back in 2021 and you tried to work things out and work through your issues or whatever the case was. And you know what, I'm glad that you're putting in the work to make yourself better. But here's the thing, if you was out here doing what needs to be done or whatever the case was, like, this is just the product of the situation, unfortunately. You're just gonna have to do what needs to be done to just continue to work on yourself, as you should. So continue to work on you. I don't think you're ever going to come back to Drag Race, nor come back to drag, because I don't know anybody who's going to put up with you or want to pay you money to perform. And I don't know if anybody's going to want to see you perform, knowing all this stuff that's on here. With the shit you did in the past that affected the show is going to be, unfortunately, a nasty stain on your career as a drag artist, no matter how you slice it. I'm glad you're putting in the work, and I'm glad you're working out whatever, exercising your demons and all that other stuff. But I feel like your term as a drag performer is done. This is the end of Sherry Pie. Now, I guess if people want to pay for cameos or book you for secret bookings or secret events or whatever the case is, that's their prerogative. Um, I don't feel like places need to be canceled for doing it, but I feel like, look, it's up to us. If y'all want to support Sherry Pie, you go ahead and do that. If you don't want to support her because you feel like what she did was despicable and a sign of, the mental health, whatever the case is, I'm glad you got a diagnosis. And then forever, as long as you live on this earth, because your mental is your mental, you're going to forever be a work in progress. So work those things out, and that's that. So what else could we say about it except it is what it is?